I never thought I'd see my parents again after they abandoned me at 8 years old. That day is seared into my memory, Mom and Dad dropping me off at Grandma Rose's house with nothing but a small backpack of clothes, promising they'd be back soon. "We just need some time to figure things out, Emma," Mom had said, avoiding my eyes. "Be good for Grandma." They never came back. The first few months were the hardest. Every afternoon, I'd sit by Grandma's window, watching the cars pass, hoping one of them would bring my parents back to me. Every night, I cried myself to sleep, wondering what I'd done wrong, why I wasn't enough for them to stay. But Grandma Rose was my anchor. "You are perfect just as you are, my sweet girl," she would whisper, wiping away my tears. "Some people aren't ready to be parents, but that's not your fault, and you'll never have to go through this alone, I promise." Grandma Rose wasn't just any grandmother. She was wise, elegant, and, though I didn't fully understand it at the time, exceptionally wealthy. But you'd never know it from how she lived. She drove an old Toyota, dressed in simple yet sophisticated clothes, and continued working as a high school principal because she loved shaping young minds. The only signs of her wealth were her exquisite taste in art and the occasional offhand remark about investments while reading the financial pages. Under her care, I flourished. She nurtured my love for science, hired tutors when I struggled, and celebrated every victory, no matter how small. When I won first place in the state science fair at 13, she threw a party and invited all my friends. "That's my girl," she had said, hugging me tightly. "You're going to change the world someday." Life became simple, just Grandma and me against the world. She never spoke poorly of my parents, but she made sure I knew their absence wasn't a reflection of me. "Sometimes people make choices they can't take back," she'd say, "but those choices say more about them than they ever will about you." Eventually, I stopped waiting for my parents, stopped wondering if they'd return, stopped caring why they left. I had Grandma, and she was more than enough. Then came my 18th birthday. Grandma threw me a beautiful dinner at her favorite restaurant, surrounded by friends. At the end of the night, she handed me a delicate gold necklace with a small key pendant. "This is more than just jewelry, Emma," she said with a knowing smile. "Keep it safe. One day, you'll understand why." I didn't know then that it would be our last celebration together. 3 months later, she collapsed at school. By the time I reached the hospital, she was gone. "Heart attack," the doctor had said, "quick and painless." But the pain I felt was anything but quick. It shattered me, leaving nothing but an unbearable emptiness. Her funeral was beautiful. The church was filled with former students sharing stories of how she had changed their lives. I sat alone in the front row, clutching the necklace she had given me, trying to be strong, just as she had taught me. And then I saw them. My parents. They walked into the church as if they belonged there, as if they hadn't vanished from my life a decade ago. Mom's hair was streaked with gray. Dad had put on weight, but I recognized them instantly. My heart stopped, then it started racing. They made their way toward me, their faces filled with something that resembled concern. "Emma, sweetheart," Mom said, reaching for my hand. I pulled away. "We came as soon as we heard," she continued, her voice gentle. "We're so sorry about your grandmother." Dad nodded solemnly. "We know it's been a long time, but we're here now. You'll come home with us, of course. You're still a minor for a few more months, and we're your legal guardians." I stared at them in disbelief. 10 years of silence, and now they wanted to play happy family? "I'm not going anywhere with you," I said, my voice trembling with anger. Grandma Rose was my home. Mom's expression hardened. "Now, Emma," she said, slipping into the sharp tone I remembered from childhood, "don't be difficult. We're your parents. You don't have a choice in this matter." "Actually," a deep voice interrupted, "she has every choice." We turned to see a tall man in an expensive suit approaching, a leather briefcase in hand. "I'm James Morrison, Rose Montgomery's attorney," he said, his tone unreadable, "and we need to have a conversation about your grandmother's will." Something in my parents' expressions shifted. Mom's eyes flickered with barely concealed interest. Dad straightened his tie, suddenly looking nervous. "Of course," he said smoothly, "we're her only living relatives, after all." Mr. Morrison remained impassive. "Let's step into a private room. There are some urgent matters to discuss." As we followed him, my fingers instinctively closed around the key hanging from my necklace. I didn't know what was coming. But I knew everything was about to change. Again. My parents looked bewildered, but I reached for the key pendant Grandma had given me, gripping it tightly. Mr. Morrison nodded, a knowing glint in his eyes. Perfect. Now, let's go over the terms of Rose Montgomery's will. He cleared his throat and began reading. I, Rose Montgomery, being of sound mind, declare this to be my last will and testament. The legal jargon blurred together, until one sentence shattered everything I thought I knew. To my beloved granddaughter, Emma Grace Montgomery, I leave my entire estate, including all properties, investments, bank accounts, and business holdings, currently valued at approximately $47 million. The room erupted into chaos. $47 million? Mom shrieked, her face flushing with rage. That's impossible. Rose was a school principal. Dad's hand slammed against the table. This is ridiculous. We're her only children. How could she leave everything to a teenager? Mr. Morrison remained calm. There's more. The will specifies that Emma is to be legally emancipated immediately. A trust has been established in her name. The key she wears opens a safety deposit box containing additional documents and instructions. My head swam. $47 million? The woman who had driven an old Toyota, clipped grocery coupons, and lived so modestly had been worth millions? Mom's voice turned sharp. This will was updated last month. Her eyes darkened. We'll contest it. Emma is still a minor. We're her legal guardians, and we have rights. Actually, Mr. Morrison interjected, sliding another document across the table. You surrendered those rights 10 years ago. My parents froze. This is a copy of the abandonment charges Rose filed against you both after you left Emma. You never responded to the court summons, so she was granted full legal custody. You haven't been Emma's guardians for a very long time. The false concern vanished from my parents' faces, replaced by something colder, greed, desperation. Mom's voice turned syrupy. Emma, sweetheart, you don't understand. Let us help you. We're family. Family. The word tasted bitter. Where was family when you left me? My voice was eerily calm. Where was family for 10 years while Grandma Rose raised me? Dad leaned forward, forcing a smile. We made a mistake. We were young, struggling, but we're here now. We can make it right. I let out a breath, one that felt like I had been holding for a decade. Make it right? I whispered, then, louder, you're only here because of the money. Did you even care that Grandma died? Did you ever care about me? The silence that followed was my answer. Mr. Morrison cleared his throat. There's one more thing. Rose left a letter for you, Emma. He handed me a sealed envelope. She asked that you read it alone. I took it and left without another word. Finding a quiet corner of the church, I broke the wax seal with trembling hands. My dearest Emma. If you're reading this, I'm gone, and you've just learned the truth about our family's wealth. I know it's a shock. I kept it hidden for a reason, to protect you, to let you grow up valuing kindness, not money. I watched your parents choose wealth over love too many times. They abandoned you because I refused to keep funding their reckless spending. They made their choice, and in doing so, they gave me the greatest gift, you. The key I gave you unlocks more than just a safety deposit box. It unlocks your future. The house is yours. Your education is secured. The family business is waiting, when you're ready. But most importantly, never forget, you are loved, not for your inheritance, but for who you are. The same strength that carried you through the pain of their abandonment will carry you through this. Don't let them manipulate you. They'll try, but you are a Montgomery woman, and Montgomery women? We don't break easily. All my love. Grandma Rose. Tears blurred my vision as I pressed the letter to my chest. Even in death, Grandma was protecting me. I took a steadying breath and walked back into the private room. My parents were still arguing with Mr. Morrison, their voices sharp with frustration. They fell silent when I entered. Emma, Mom started, her voice all sugar again, but I held up a hand. I want you to leave. My voice was steady, strong. Both of you, you're not welcome here. Now listen here. Dad's voice turned angry, but Mr. Morrison was already reaching for his phone. Shall I call security? He asked, his tone almost bored. As the sole heir, Emma has the right to have you removed. The realization sank in. They had lost, not just the money, but any control over me. Mom's face twisted with fury. This isn't over. But it was. I watched as they gathered their things and stormed out. From the window, I saw them arguing in the parking lot, their plans unraveling before them. They had chosen money over love once before. And now, that choice had finally caught up to them. Mr. Morrison gave me a knowing smile. Now, shall we go see what's inside that safety deposit box? I looked down at the key around my neck, my fingers tracing its edges. This was just the beginning. And for the first time in my life, I held the key to my own future. I had no idea it existed, but my gaze was drawn to a USB drive labeled, "Watch Me First." Mr. Morrison wasted no time, plugging the drive into his laptop. Moments later, Grandma Rose's face appeared on the screen, vibrant and full of life. It must have been recorded just before her death. "Emma, my darling girl," she began, her familiar, warm smile tugging at my heart. "If you're watching this, then everything has happened as I expected. Your parents showed up at my funeral, didn't they? Trying to claim what was never theirs to begin with." I gasped, even from beyond. She'd known them so well. "You see, Emma, there's something you need to know about your parents. They didn't just abandon you, they tried to steal everything from me first. Your father, my own son, and your mother attempted to transfer all my assets to their names while I was on a business trip. They thought I was just a naive school principal. They never realized I was the one who built Montgomery Investments from the ground up." Her voice hardened as she continued. "When I discovered their scheme, I gave them a choice: stay, live modestly, and learn the value of hard work, or leave. They chose to leave. They left you behind, thinking I'd come begging for them to return. What they never understood was that by abandoning you, they gave up the greatest treasure of all." Tears blurred my vision as Grandma's words broke through the pain I had carried for so long. "I watched you grow into an extraordinary young woman, kind, intelligent, hardworking, everything they're not. That's why I know you're ready for this responsibility." The video went on, outlining the future Grandma had planned for me, the company, the properties, but most importantly, the charitable foundation she had established in my name. "The Montgomery Foundation provides scholarships to abandoned children," she explained. "You'll be its new director. Use our wealth to help others like yourself, Emma. That's our true legacy." The following weeks were a blur of new responsibilities. Mr. Morrison introduced me to the board of Montgomery Investments, all of whom had known and respected Grandma Rose. They welcomed me with open arms, ready to guide me as I learned the ropes of the business. My parents didn't give up easily. They hired lawyers, tried to contest the will, and even attempted to claim that Grandma Rose had been mentally unstable when she wrote it. But she had been meticulous. Every document was in perfect order, every decision legally sound. Their last-ditch effort came 3 months later. They showed up at the Montgomery Investments office, making a scene in the lobby. "We're her parents," Mom shouted, as security moved in to hold them back. "She can't keep us out." I walked up to them, dressed in one of Grandma's elegant suits, the key necklace still resting at my throat. "Actually, I can, and I will. We'll go to the press," Dad threatened, his voice tight with anger. "Tell everyone how you stole our inheritance." I smiled, calm and unwavering, channeling Grandma Rose's quiet strength. "Go ahead, tell them how you abandoned your 8-year-old daughter. Tell them how you tried to steal from your own mother. I'm sure the press will love that story." They deflated, their earlier bravado vanishing as they realized the truth. They had lost, not just the money, but any chance of ever manipulating me again. "Goodbye," I said firmly. "Don't come back." As they left, their shoulders slumped with defeat, I touched the key around my neck, feeling Grandma's presence wrap around me like a warm embrace. That evening, I approved the first round of scholarships from the Montgomery Foundation. 20 children from broken homes were given the chance to rewrite their stories. Sitting in Grandma's old office, my office now, I gazed at her photo on the wall and smiled. She had given me more than just an inheritance. She had given me purpose. She had given me strength. She had given me the power to help others. The old Toyota still sat in my garage, and while I could afford any car I wanted, I chose to keep it. It was a reminder of where I came from, of the humble, hard-working woman who taught me that true wealth isn't about money. It's about how you use it to make the world better. Sometimes, I wear her old principal's blazer to board meetings. The members who knew her smile when they see it, they understand. I'm not just Rose Montgomery's heir. I'm her legacy. As for my parents, I heard they moved to another state, telling anyone who would listen about their ungrateful daughter. But their words can't hurt me anymore. I know who I am. I am Emma Grace Montgomery. And like my grandmother before me, I choose love over money, kindness over greed, helping others over helping myself. Because that's what real family does.